Back with another video. Freddie always talks about this 40-hour work week, and he does a lot of comparison between the generations. So this one is talking about burnout, and honestly, I've been curious about why everyone is so tired. So let's get into it and kind of see what he's saying, and I'll share my thoughts.
Where people think, oh, these kids are so burned out, they're just lazy. It's like, no, they're working 40 hours a week, but at the end of the month, they
So I'm not far into it, but it's the 40-hour week thing that really is his tagline in every video, that 40-hour week should solve your problems. No, it doesn't.
progress, and you look back 5 years and go, damn, I made $300,000 in the last 5 years, or I made $400,000 in the last 5 years, and I have nothing. If anything, I have $25,000 in debt. That's going to create burnout because you feel like you just put in 5 years of work and have nothing to show for it. And
First of all, people don't actually track their spending. Second, if they did, the truth of the matter is you're responsible for how your money's spent. So if you're not writing a plan, actually sticking to it and learning just the basic principles of financial literacy, personal finance, whatever you want to say, handling your money in a correct fashion, then yes, what you're seeing is a net result of zero or even negative in some cases. But does that really lead to burnout?
have nothing to show for it. And we still have people blaming them that, well, the reason you're broke is because of the coffee. It's like, no, it's the 25% inflation that we've faced that just destroyed people's spending power. It's the 30% increase in rent prices where people are spending 40% of their money on rent. You're still being taxed 20, 25, 30%. People just don't have any money. People aren't having kids. They're not being able to start families.
Okay, the inflation thing really just happened. And you can't use a one-time event. While it did exacerbate a larger issue, it really just put a light on how bad people were actually handling their money and made things tighter. But guess what? It wasn't tight before, and they still weren't choosing, and they weren't handling their money correctly. They were just spending out of control, really.
Families. People are struggling financially, fighting financially, relationships are suffering. This is all decline in living standards. You realize millennials with degrees are living with roommates into their 30s, not having kids? How do you have a Thanksgiving in a 900 square foot apartment?
So I kind of see where he's kind of going with it. Yeah. First of all, the rent prices, if people don't want to buy homes for the responsibility, for the price, whether you pick it, interest rates, income, any reason on the face of the earth, if you don't want to buy a home, guess what? All the demand for housing goes into renting. And those who are invested or have rents means because the demand's there, guess what? The price goes up. Right now, renting is still kind of a cheaper option than home ownership, but the more renting becomes kind of normalized for the larger of the mass, the higher rent prices will go just as a base concept. The burnout comes when you're constantly working or you don't work because, again, you're trying to do everything on a 40-hour week check, and that's just not how the math works. We pay for a lot of conveniences in today's society that for which they weren't even thought of as businesses or conveniences years ago. I was more interested in what was the actual correlation that he could make, because I do know there's a huge mental health epidemic, but is the mental health epidemic because so much of our lives are lived through social media, so much video, so much recording. And then you talk from a content creator space, why people get burnt out. Well, yeah, when you're trying to pump out 4 or 5 different videos every day by yourself, yeah, that's hard. But it's not that, it's more just adding the other pieces of, are you being outside? Are you exercising? Are you eating well? Are you doing all the other facets physically to help you have a more stable life holistically? The burnout of 40 hours a week, to be honest, anytime you do anything, 40 hours a week is built to maintain whatever standard of living you're at. So if you want to have something extra and you didn't start with an already prosperous, comfortable life, that means, guess what? You have to work extra. So if I wasn't given $2-3 million to start my life, 40 hours a week won't maintain that. But if I'm trying to get to that level of comfort of $2-3 million, I'm going to have to work extra. I'm not going to be able to do that on 40 hours a week. And I don't care what generation you got in. That math equation never changes.